coming, everybody? How's it going? It is, well, some of you, I think, are wondering what I think about the Champions League draw because, as you can tell, this Champions League draw was a nightmare scenario in that it pretty much is a guarantee that you're going to see an Italian team in the final because UEFA put three Italian teams on one side of the bracket, meaning that Inter, Napoli, and Milan all avoid Bayern, Real, and City up until the Champions League final. Hey, let me tell all of you guys right here, right now, Juventus are the next Italian winner of the Champions League. Has been the case for years, has been the case throughout the 2010s, 2015, 2017, 2018, 2019. You have your rebuilding cliff. Nothing has changed. Juventus own all the revenues with their own stadium. They actually own their own stadium. These clubs are still far behind Juventus in every single way imaginable and tangible today. Napoli and the Milanese clubs do not control the revenues from their stadium. That put Juventus at such a huge competitive advantage. There is going to be a lot of pressure for these clubs not to bottle it, I guarantee you. This is the biggest moment in years for any Italian club outside of Juventus to win the Champions League. No Juventus in the Champions League knockouts, and all three of these clubs in the quarterfinals avoid Bayern, Man City, Real Madrid, and another Premier League team, Chelsea. I mean, this is the golden moment to win the Champions League without Juventus in the way. And I guarantee you they will all bottle it. Milan or Istanbul, 5. Milan is bang average. It's just reality. Bang average. One goal and two legs against Tottenham 0-0. That club is bang average. Inter have been bang average in two legs against Porto. Every one of these clubs out there, Bayern, Real Madrid, Man City, these clubs would all dream to face two Portuguese teams for two consecutive knockout ties in the Champions League. I mean, how easy of a draw is this? Suffering, I believe, is trying to stick it to Agnelli. I do. However, it does not mean that they are planning on an Italian team to win the UEFA Champions League. And let me explain right here. It is Juve, that's 13. There have been 12 Italian Champions League winners. Juventus have Paul Pogba, they have Chiesa, they have the defender of the year, Bremer, young core of young midfielders, Fagioli and Moratti will all be better than Barella and Tomori someday. Juventus have the funds necessary to replace those fullbacks like Alexandro, for example, Paul Pogba in the midfield, Dusan Vlahovic, world-class striker right there, Vlahovic, Pogba, Chiesa, and fellow Serb Kostic on the wings who won the Europa with Frankfurt. And young Federico Gatti right behind. A real youth movement at Juventus, a bigger youth movement than any of these other Italian clubs you see. You give Juventus the credit that they are looking to have the very best Italian players on in the country. and Milan are just average. Their goal differential top four, scraping through draws. That's the reality. Napoli are gonna go full Diego Maradona. Diego Maradona conquered the North. He conquered Juventus. He conquered Milan. Inter are not good in the day. But the main point, Diego Maradona conquered the North to win the Scudetto. In Europe, in a two-leg tie, maybe Milan and Inter have better depth than Napoli in a two-legged tie. But like Maradona, Napoli are going to conquer the northern rivals in Europe. They're going to easily beat Milan, and in the semifinals, they will defeat Inter because Napoli are among the best clubs in the country this year, right after Diego Maradona's death. The World Cup, their Scudetto, just like Diego Maradona did to Juventus and Milan, it's Napoli that are going to defeat Milan and Inter. Napoli are going to conquer the North in Europe like Diego Maradona did in the Scudetto in the late 80s, early 90s. It is Napoli that will conquer the North. They're guaranteed there will be Champions League football in the semifinals at the San Siro. It's going to involve Inter and Napoli. Spalletti used to manage Inter. Luciano Spalletti actually did bring Inter back to the Champions League, but then they sacked him and they replaced him with Antonio Conte. Luciano Spalletti can go up against his club. He doesn't win the Scudetto against Inter because Napoli have run in all the way through with the Scudetto this year, but Napoli will be in the Champions League final against the German club. Their UEFA Super Cup, they did win against the German clubs, Stuttgart. 1989. Diego Maradona and Napoli defeated Stuttgart through two legs. And Napoli will be faced with the same situation against the German club, except this is almighty Bayern, and as good as the guy from Nigeria has been, you don't have the Diego Maradona in midfield. Although that Georgian kid is very good. That Georgian kid is very good. Real Madrid are very interested in the Georgian kid. Napoli one season wonder after the World Cup for Diego Maradona, or Napoli going to build something special with Luciano Spalletti and didn't continue forever with Mauricio Sarri. You Milan are only good because it is Berlusconi that made Milan what it had been in the past. Berlusconi is bigger than the club of Milan itself. Don Carlo is no longer the manager of AC Milan. All you have, no disrespect, is Stefano Pioli. I think Spalletti is a better manager than Stefano Pioli. And Inter are very weak at the back. Napoli already lost to Inter in the league, but that don't matter. That don't matter. That don't matter. It's been completely one-sided. Napoli over two legs. Napoli are the better team throughout multiple matches against Inter. Like Maradona, they conquered their northern Italian rivals. In Inter and Milan, without the resources, with the most advantageous draw in yet you will ever have in this modern era without the Premier League and Bayern and Real Madrid in the way. This is the golden chance to win the Champions League, and every single club will fail. Every single club will fail. When that happens, it's virtually as over once Juventus with a healthy club are back in the Champions League, rebuilding with their healthy stars on the pitch. They're not on the sidelines like they've been this year. Chiesa on the sidelines, Pogba on the sidelines, Vlahovic on the sidelines. They can play up with each other for months and months and months through a actual full season. But it will be up to Napoli to be the biggest of all opportunities for any club outside of Juventus FC to win the Champions League for the Campionato of Lega Serie A. When Juventus are almost done with the rebuild, if Juventus win the European Cup, if they beat Man United, if they beat all of the teams involved in that competition, like Arsenal and Leverkusen and Sevilla and Sporting, when all these clubs bottled Juventus, when they played the Champions League final, they did not have this easy run to the final like all these other teams had. They had to face against Real Madrid in 2015. They've had to face off against Dortmund. They've had to face off against Barcelona in 2017. They've had to face off against Kylian Mbappe in Monaco, a team that defeated Guardiola in Man City. I guarantee it. Juventus are the next team to win the Champions League. When every single one of these clubs bottle it, there's going to be a lot of misery with the Juventus hating tifosi out there, with all the Juventus haters out there. This would be the biggest of all European bottle jobs out there for any Italian club here. Every single club, this has never ever been seen before. What you suppose that is? Because they're probably planning something special for Napoli to be up in the final against any of these other teams. The Milan and Inter. I'd say it's golden if we do win a European trophy this year. Especially if we beat Man United. None of these weak ass teams out there don't draw a Premier League side in the knockouts. You know they're weak when they know that they're not going to get drawn against a Premier League side because they know they can't beat these teams. That's why they're drawn against each other. They know they can't beat those teams out there. I think UEFA has exposed Juventus competition. When Juventus are back, when Juventus are back to competing with Bayern and Real and Barcelona, all that, it's going to be over for all these other clubs out there. Without banning the rivals from the transfer market, the Farciopoli, without in an era where it hasn't been commercialized, that's the only one that Milan won. They don't own the stadium yet. The UAE failed to buy Milan. Every single one of these teams are going to bottle it, I guarantee it. Napoli will be in the final. Napoli's going to lose to Bayern. They're going to lose to Bayern, I guarantee it. Napoli will be in the final. Three Italian teams on one side of the bracket. None of them can win the Champions League. That's how you know Juventus is the pride of Italian. It doesn't have to beat this year, next year, the year after. Within 4 years or so, Juventus will be ready for the Champions League. I guarantee it with this current core of players. These clubs, I think, are under the pressure to not bottle it. They think they have a chance to win the Champions League. Whoever makes the final is going to lose. Milan's the weakest. Inter are completely weak. Napoli can be playing in the final. The weak back line of Inter, the weak, mediocre play against Tottenham Hotspur in the Champions League, barely scrapping by top four. Milan been on Roma's level. It's just not gonna be. It's just not gonna be anything in the past. Living too much in the past. But we got other Champions League, Milan. It's a much different era in the past. It's a completely different era ever since the game has been more commercialized. And Milan has fallen behind in keeping up the terms with the modern game. But it's not going to conquer the North again, except it's in Europe. It's not going to be for the Scudetto like it was during the day of Diego Maradona. Juventus are the next team to win the Champions League in Syria. I'll be laughing all the way. Once Napoli loses the final, it'll be epic. Hopefully Juventus can win the Europa and Napoli can lose the final. And those will be nice, sweet Neapolitan tears, baby. Boza Juventus, Fido alla fine.